Good Wednesday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, let's take a quick look outside that beautiful weather window today. It was still a little bit on the breezy side, and you can see as we look down at Kashmir, our Sky-Fi Tower camera shaking just a little bit out there today. I don't think anything like we saw yesterday afternoon. Boy, that wind really came up yesterday into last night. We had plenty of wind for most of the day today. As you can see, 25 to 30 mile an hour gusts in the Wenatchee area. We also saw 20 to 25 mile an hour gusts along I-90. Some areas had winds a little bit stronger than that. And I'll tell you what, folks, if you traveled east into Montana today, you ran into 60 to 70 mile an hour winds all along that frontal boundary that moved through our area yesterday. We do have a couple of more storm systems moving our way, and we'll talk more about that coming up a little bit later on. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. A travel trailer was destroyed in an early morning fire Tuesday in Chelan Falls, but firefighters were able to contain the blaze before it spread to a nearby orchard. A brush fire near Davis Canyon off Highway 97A about noon Wednesday briefly threatened two structures before firefighters from several departments quickly contained the blaze. And some of the dogs housed at the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society will be tested for distemper after the virus recently appeared in two of them. But first, we begin tonight. A suspect wanted on multiple felony warrants was shot by a law enforcement officer just before noon yesterday in Riverside. Okanagan County Sheriff Tony Hawley said his department and OMAC police had received information on the location of the suspect. During an attempt to arrest the man, he was shot by either a sheriff's deputy or an OMAC police officer. Initially, there was conflicting information. Then both departments simply said a law enforcement officer. Hawley did not provide information on the condition of the man or the circumstances that led to him being shot. The OMAC Chronicle reported that the man had been injured, apparently not fatally. The Sheriff's Office and OMAC Police have contacted the North Central Washington Special Investigations Unit to investigate that shooting. A travel trailer was destroyed in an early morning fire Tuesday in Chelan Falls, but firefighters were able to contain the blaze before it spread to a nearby orchard. Chelan Fire and Rescue said all the occupants were safely out of the travel trailer by the time firefighters arrived. That was shortly before 3 a.m. It took crews about 10 minutes to get the fire under control. The travel trailer and its contents were a total loss. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Meanwhile, a brush fire near Davis Canyon off Highway 97A about noon on Wednesday briefly threatened two structures before firefighters from several departments quickly contained the blaze. Chelan Fire and Rescue was first on the scene and found 30-mile-per-hour winds pushing the fire upslope toward the structures. Chelan County Fire District 6 out of Eniat, State Department of Natural Resources, and U.S. Forest Service crews were called in to assist, and the fire was limited to about an acre and a half. It appears the fire was the result of a controlled burn getting out of control. Well, some of the dogs housed at the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society will be tested for distemper after the virus recently appeared in two of them. Director Don Davies says dogs still at the shelter that came in contact with the two infected animals have been quarantined, and the group is working to find pen owners whose dogs might have been exposed. The infected dogs were among 6 that arrived on February 8th after they were rescued from an unsanitary home down in Texas. They appeared healthy at the time, but one dog later developed neurological symptoms and had to be euthanized. The shelter remains open for its usual hours, but if your dog has been exposed to a Wenatchee Valley Humane Society shelter dog between the dates of February 8th to February 28th, call the Humane Society at 662-9577 or talk to your veterinarian. Coming up next, we will find out what goes into the testing for coronavirus. The State Court of Appeals won't throw out a long-running lawsuit over construction at Wanapum Dam. And Canine Chief, the Moses Lake police dog who was shot in the eye by a fleeing suspect last Friday night, received a hero's welcome as he returned home today from the Washington State University Veterinary Clinic. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
Coming Coming home should never be a chore. Let Merry Maids of Wenatchee customize all your cleaning needs. Weekly, bi-weekly, special occasion. Do you have a vacation home that needs cleaning? We clean them too. Locally owned and operated, let Merry Maids do the cleaning while you focus on your family and friends. Merry Maids has special offers to fit your budget. Request your free cleaning estimate today. 509-663-1710.
It's estimated that 1/3 of Americans do not have a financial plan. At D.A. Davidson, their advisors are working to change that because they understand the importance of planning for the future. At D.A. Davidson, they believe in partnering together to build a strategy tailored to your needs. They spend the time and have the knowledge to help keep your financial future on track. Let D.A. Davidson Financial Advisors of Wenatchee put the strength of advice to work for you.
Winter is a great time to trade in your current hot tub. Turn your old hot tub into money with Blue Lagoon Pool & Spa's trade-in program. And with Blue Lagoon's home show pricing, you can save $500 to $1,000 off of any new artesian spa or take advantage of a free Bluetooth music experience. Blue Lagoon Pool & Spa recommends draining your hot tub every 3 months. Ask us about our drain and refill special for only $99. Stop on by Blue Lagoon Pool & Spa today.
Welcome back. In another news, Chelan-Douglas County Health District Administrator Barry Kling says he expects to see more testing for coronavirus as the sickness spreads across the state. As of today, there are no confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the local area, although 4 people are being tested. Kling says he has no doubt the virus will spread east from the Seattle area, where now 10 people have succumbed to the illness.
But I don't really think that it's worse in Washington State than many other locations, but I also think that we're moving toward a more community-wide transmission picture, where it's not just, 3 or 4 or a dozen people. There are apparently a lot of asymptomatic cases, people who really aren't very sick or maybe mildly ill, who have the virus and can transmit it to other people. And that's a lot like influenza, although this isn't actually an influenza bug. It's a different kind of virus. It's in the same family as some of the common cold viruses we have, as well as SARS and other bad ones.
So it manifests itself in similar types of symptoms, I suppose.
Yeah, it starts out a lot like a cold or flu, and the bad...
Is it possible that some people could have had it and recovered and never known they had it?
Yeah, and a lot of people, including some of the public health experts that I've talked to and listened to, are pretty sure it's been circulating for a while. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if it's circulating now in our community. So we ought to talk about just how worried we should be about that. But one of the most important things we can do is tell the public the truth. We have got to do that. We can't completely prevent unnecessary panic and that sort of thing. There'll probably be some crazy stuff happening, but what we're going to do is keep telling the truth. We're going to say what we do know, we're going to tell people when we don't know yet.
Kling says he's satisfied with the way the CDC has handled the crisis, but he couldn't say the same for some elected officials.
There are some politicians in both parties, this is not a partisan comment, who are just looking for an opportunity to jump all over them and everybody else because they want to blame somebody. Those are a lot of the same politicians who have ravaged the emergency preparedness budgets for CDC and local and state public health agencies over the last 10 years, not just this administration. And so if they want to complain to somebody, I think they ought to call their own offices.
Meanwhile, Vice President Mike Pence will be in Seattle tomorrow to meet with Governor Inslee. Barry Kling's In Focus interview is available on demand at NCWLIFE.com. Well, the State Court of Appeals won't throw out a long-running lawsuit over construction at Wanapum Dam. The contractor on the Grant County PUD's Fish Ladder project sued the utility in 2008, saying it was not fairly paid for major changes that were ordered while the work was in progress 12 years later. The case has yet to go to trial in Grant County Superior Court, but has been the subject of several appeals, including this one. The appeals court on Tuesday denied the PUD's latest attempt to have the case dismissed. A previous appellate ruling called the lawsuit, quote, unduly convoluted and overly lawyered. The Moses Lake police dog that the department says saved his handler's life is out of a veterinary clinic and back home this afternoon. NCWLIFE's Cal Fitzsimmons reports on the heartwarming homecoming.
It was a hero's welcome home for Canine Chief in Moses Lake today. The police dog left the Washington State University Veterinary Clinic in Pullman under police escort for the trip home. Chief was shot in the eye by a fleeing suspect just last Friday and has made what's being called an amazing recovery. He and Officer Nick Stewart were pursuing 22-year-old Jose L. Rivera, a suspect wanted for several robberies, when Rivera pulled a handgun and shot Chief. Stewart then shot and killed Rivera. The department said today that Chief saved Stewart's life. The canine underwent surgery Tuesday to remove his destroyed right eye and is making what police are calling an amazing recovery. The department says if Chief is unable to return to duty, he will have a retirement befitting a hero. This is Cal Fitzsimmons reporting for NCWLIFE.
Welcome home, Chief!
And speedy recovery to Chief. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's feature story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Stay with us.
You want to help others. You need a solid career. You can have both with help from Charter College. Our 10-month medical assistant program prepares you to work in healthcare settings like physician offices, rehab centers, and clinics. You'll learn to take vitals, assist with exams, administer injections, and maintain records. When you're ready to launch a rewarding healthcare career, stop by our campus at 595 Grant Road across from Safeway or visit chartercollege.edu.
Are you like many who are lacking in their retirement plan but are skeptical to talk to an advisor? Are you concerned about where you should put your money or who to trust? At Solomon Financial, we are more about the people we serve than policies or products. We are a fee-based fiduciary with the mission of giving you the peace of mind so you can live the retirement of your dreams. If you have any of these questions or concerns, we'd welcome you to come see us.
AC Checker has new owners who put customer service first. When you have to get there on time, call fast, friendly, reliable AC Checker, 663-TAXI. AC Checker has the industry's only on-time or it's free guarantee. Conditions apply. Call AC Checker, 663-TAXI to schedule your cab or schedule online at acchecker.com. Call American Classic Taxi, 663-TAXI. That's 663-8294.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. The Wenatchee High School Drama Department's production of The Diary of Anne Frank opens tonight with shows through Saturday. The play tells the first-person story of a young Jewish girl and her family hiding from Nazis in an attic. In tonight's feature story, Ainsley Shearer, who plays Anne Frank, told Wake Up Wenatchee Valley's Dan Kuntz it was a story that captured her interest long before she landed the starring role.
This was the first book that I really enjoyed, that I got assigned. And so as soon as I finished it, I started it over again and I read it again. And before the show, I checked it out from the library again and I read it again. And it's just good every time you read it. And yeah.
It's an interesting book in that it wasn't meant to be a book. It was never meant to be released to the public. It was simply a diary.
Yeah.
And after it was all over, I'm not going to give you a spoiler alert, Dad found the diary and the rest is history.
Right.
What did you take out of the book?
Well, I've always been interested in that period of history, and it was interesting because when you read the book, it feels like you're not supposed to be reading it. Like, this is somebody's personal stuff. She never said it was okay for me to read this, and so it's just interesting because you know that she didn't make any of that stuff up. All that stuff was never meant to be seen by anyone.
Now, of course, the play takes place in the attic. For the most part, which in and of itself is very claustrophobic, but you get to perform this on a stage. So what were the challenges of making it seem like you're all trapped in this 200 square foot room for years on end?
So the place that they stayed was actually 3 stories. So they had a top attic, and then they had their main room with 2 bedrooms, and then they had a lower floor with the 2 other bedrooms. So we kind of recreated that. So we have stairs that go down to one floor, and then a middle floor, and then another floor that goes up to the attic. So we kind of recreated it on how the house actually looked.
We got some cast photos of the cast that we're throwing up on screen there. Talk about your cast members.
Oh, they are so fun. And I have so much respect for them because of how much work they've put into it. This show is an easy one to just take the part and say, okay, this is the part I'm playing, and read the lines and do the blocking. But I'm impressed with how much each person has put in specific research into their character.
Time now for a check of your North Central Washington weather forecast. And as always, let's take a quick look outside our weather window. Shaking around out there a little bit today as we look down at beautiful Kashmir from our Sky-Fi tower camera. See some traffic this afternoon along Highway 2 and the beautiful Wenatchee River beside that. And as I mentioned, a little bit on the windy side, but still nice today. Unofficially, high temperature today was a nice one at 54 degrees, still above normal, 5 degrees above where we should be at 49. 39 was our early morning low, so we were off to a good start already. 31 is normal. 61 record high in 2012, record low just last year at 4 degrees. Sunrise 6:34, and the sun will set tonight at 5:51. Let's take a peek at your Thursday now, and things are looking pretty nice out there. It will cool down just a little bit, but the good news about Thursday, the winds will also settle a little bit. 56 Moses Lake, 55 in Ephrata. We will see 53 in Wenatchee tomorrow, so a lot like today. 52 in Kashmir, 50 for you folks in Leavenworth, and 51 beautiful degrees if you head up to Lake Chelan tomorrow. Let's take a look at our surface loop now. Tonight we can expect mostly cloudy skies, diminishing wind. As I mentioned, here's our next storm system right here, an area of low pressure and the frontal boundary associated with that. That could bring us some clouds tonight, but really no precipitation until we get into later in the week here in north central Washington. Can't say the same though for the northwest part of the state for Thursday. Mostly cloudy. Light winds for us, though. We will see mild temperatures once again as we get back into the lower 50s. And then for Friday, mostly cloudy. Some of that storminess will move over the Cascades, and that'll bring us about a 30% chance for mainly evening showers on Friday. And that will mean some morning showers for Saturday, too, as we kick off our weekend. Maybe even scattered showers throughout the day. It is a large band of shower activity that's moving through, all because of this area of low pressure. So a little bit cooler on Saturday with those showers, but don't let it worry you, because by the time we get into Sunday, we're going to be back to the sunshine and normal weather, which means high temperatures around 48 to 49 degrees. It should be a beautiful way to end our weekend with lots of sunshine out there. And then as we get into the first part of next week, mostly sunny skies. It's going to stay nice, folks. Mostly sunny, as I mentioned, slightly warmer, a bit of a ridge of high pressure beginning to build up and over the Pacific Northwest, and that means a nice Tuesday too, with mostly sunny skies. High temperatures then warming back into the middle 50s. Let's take a look now at your Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling 7-day forecast. And we will see some beautiful weather as we get into the later in the week. As I mentioned, a little bit wet though for Friday with a 30% chance of rain, a 30% chance of rain and 49, especially Saturday morning. I think things will quiet down a little bit by afternoon on Saturday if you do have outdoor plans. And then Sunday, dry conditions, 48 degrees before we warm right back up next week. 51 on Monday and 55 on Tuesday. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
I'm Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. At Alpine Air, we think of ourselves as customer service-oriented retailers. When you make an appointment, please visit our store, meet our people, see our shop. We are serious about heating and air conditioning. Carrier and Alpine Air are offering huge factory rebates and financing options for all your needs. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Call for your free replacement estimate. Heat and air, call Alpine Air, 662-6846.
And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a happy Wednesday to you here at the state tournament at the Sundome in Yakima. I'm Eric Granstrom on the NCWLIFE channel. We'll get to what's happened so far today and what the matchups will be for tomorrow coming up in just a few moments. First of all, the Vernon Vipers own a 2-1 series lead over the Wenatchee Wild after a 4-2 win at the Cal Tire Place last night in Game 3 of their BCHL playoff. Vernon scored the first goal in the game less than a minute into it, but the Wild countered shortly thereafter on Noah Luli's first goal of the postseason. Second period would define the night, however, as the Vipers collected 2 power play goals from which Wenatchee could never recover. Our checker had the call on the Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network video courtesy of Hockey TV.
Before the icing was enforced. Back to the right point. Landon Fuller shot and he scores. From the right point, right off the face-off. A clean draw came back to the right point. And it got underneath the blocker side, stick side of Daniel Chenard. Remains to be seen here how it'll turn out. There's a shot off the draw to score! Just as quickly, the Wild answered back with a point shot of their own. Noah Luley blowing one from dead straight away at the midpoint. Now to hole top of the near circle, down low side of the net. Crossing feed, shot and a score. Kowalski wide open on the back door. Shostak with the push across. Wasn't fooled, he stayed with it. There's a shot, trickled in front and in. Tough break there. The shot came from the point and it got deflected right at the top of the crease. Back to Ethan Wolders on the right side. With speed, Wolders back around, wrap around, in front, shot, score! Nick Caffarelli finished it off. Wolders with a burst of speed down the right side. Main to Scott. Scott comes up the right wing boards. In from a tough angle. He's in front. And it's poked away. Backhander by Caffarelli. Just goes high and wide. Golden opportunity on the doorstep. Kowalski holds it in the zone, though. He drifts over the far side. Wide open shot on, a save made. What a stop made by Chenard. Chenard on the bench. Extra skater on. Wild net empty. Caffarelli sent it over on the near side, but it was behind Herzog. And Connor Merritt comes away with it. And he fires it into the empty net. Final few seconds will tick away. And the Vernon Vipers are able to dodge the bullet. The Wild were coming hard and fast, but in the end, Vernon will collect the victory here tonight. And they'll take a 2-1 lead in the series.
Game 4 of the best of 7 series is tonight in Vernon. Game 5 will be Friday in Wenatchee. They're hoping for a Game 6 back in Vernon on Sunday. Well, it's day 1 of the WIAA Hardwood Classic in Tacoma, Yakima, and the Spokane. Moses Lake girls were facing Puyallup in a first-round game with the state tournament underway in the Tacoma Dome. Also, Cashmere's opponent for tomorrow in the boys tournament will be not the OMAC Pioneers. OMAC, despite a valiant effort in the second half, coming back from double-digit deficit, they trailed by 3 down the stretch, but just couldn't get it in the end. So LaSalle will be Cashmere's opponent tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the quarterfinals of the boys tournament after LaSalle knocked off OMAC 63-56. By the way, the Cashmere Bulldogs played LaSalle earlier this season back in January and were able to come up with a 72-50 victory. So at least they'll have some confidence going into that game tomorrow. The 1B tournament in Spokane, Moses Lake Christian plays a loser-out game against Mount Vernon Christian tonight at 7:15. If they win, they'll play tomorrow against Yakima Tribal at 7:15. Over the next 4 days, the Cashmere Bulldog girls basketball team will try to etch their names in the history books. And for 3 seniors, the bumps and bruises have been all worth it. I continue my series now on the chase for the gold ball. Cashmere has 3 seniors that start: Haley Van Lith, Grace Hammond, and Grace Erdman. Since their freshman year, the Bulldogs have gone an incredible 93-6 with 2 state runner-ups and a third. And while their sights are set on the chase for the gold ball this week and a lot of work ahead, I asked them for their most favorite memory of playing basketball. Erdman says it happened for her 3 years ago.
I would say it was probably in the semifinal game my sophomore year. We beat LaSalle, and just looking into the stands and remembering at one point, like, every single person on their feet in the crowd and just looking at our community and just thinking, wow, like these people really support us and really care about us, and I think it's just so awesome, the culture that we have built from this girls basketball program. And not just our program, but the boys program this year too is really successful. So just the fact that the community is so supportive and that they're willing to travel with us and cheer for us. And
for the other Grace, Hammond, she says she's enjoyed her entire experience of 4 years playing high school ball.
Definitely these years as a high schooler, they're the most rewarding years. You put all this time in building up to high school, and I think just being able to be around your teammates and being able to play on the big stage at the Sun Dome is definitely the most rewarding, especially when you look back on everything you've done throughout the season, Sweet 16s, push-ups, anything really. When you get to go and play in the Sun Dome in front of your whole community behind you, that's a pretty neat experience.
Now, Haley Van Lith is a different story. She's traveled internationally for the past 3 summers, playing on gold medal winning teams representing the U.S. She says her best memory so far happened last summer.
I would say Team USA this year in Thailand when we made a comeback in the gold medal game against Australia. That was really just like a eye-opening moment as to like why Team USA definitely has the hardest. It's the hardest to make the teams. We have the hardest training camps. Like, it's a grind to play for Team USA and just play against the best players in the country all day long. But I think like that just was like, this is so worth it to experience the feeling that I experienced when we got to hold those gold medals. Like, I saw the confetti coming down after we won. Like, I would do it all over again, no brainer, every time to just go through that pain to get that feeling again.
There's no doubt that 22-0 season so far has also provided incredible moments for these 3 senior starters, as well as the rest of the Bulldogs. But I'm sure hoisting the gold ball Saturday night would be the icing on the cake. I'm Eric Granstrom with NCWLIFE Channel Sports. And we'll have the Cashmere game against the winner of today's matchup between Meridian and Annie Wright. That'll be tomorrow at 5:30 with the NFHS Network here on the NCWLIFE channel. I'll continue to keep you up to date on what's happening as far as the state tournament here in Yakima for both the boys and the girls throughout the next several days. Now, speaking of the boys, the schedule over the next couple of days, as we mentioned, LaSalle and OMAC played earlier with LaSalle advancing in the 2B tournament. Spokane Lake Roosevelt facing Wahkiakum today. The winner of that will face Life Christian tomorrow at 3:45. Brewster playing a loser-out game tonight against Kettle Falls. The winner of that one will play Tootle Lake in the quarterfinals tomorrow at 7:15. Also, college basketball tonight. Eastern Washington is on the road at Idaho State. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Granstrom here at the Sun Dome in Yakima on the NCWLIFE channel. Grant, back to you.
Thank you, Eric. We're looking forward to those reports. Now let's check in with Dan Kuntz for a look at what's coming up tomorrow morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Dan?
Thank you very much, Grant. Join me tomorrow morning for a Thursday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It's my conversation with Mobile Meals. Trish Blevins runs Mobile Meals, does a great job, and also Sandy Briggs, who used to do Trish's job. Their big fundraiser. Their biggest one of the year is the big variety show that Mobile Meals puts on. It's going to be Friday night at the New America Performing Arts Center. We'll talk about that and the good work that Mobile Meals does, plus everything you're used to get your day going on Thursday. I'll see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. live from this very studio. Grant, back to you.
Thank you, Dan. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us and have a great night.
This is Caitlin Hedershe, the producer of the NCWLIFE magazine. Each week, I'm bringing you a look behind the scenes of the faces, places, and events that make North Central Washington the place we call home. Tune in every weekday for an in-depth look at a new topic each week. From local artists in their studios to businesses breaking barriers that might surprise you and everything in between. Join me on the NCW Life magazine right here on the NCW Life channel.
Hey there, Wenatchee. I'm Sean Lee, and I'm inviting you to check out the NCW Movie Guide to keep up on what movies are playing in our town.